right here in the Situation Room. Until then, thanks very much for joining us. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington. Blue Dots Tonight starts right now.
This is Blue Dots Tonight. News, debate, and opinion for Monday, March 27th. Live in New York, Blue Dots.
Good evening, everybody. A historic showdown is taking place in the Senate over this nation's illegal alien crisis. A divided Senate is about to debate the most substantive immigration reform bill offered in more than 2 decades. We'll be live tonight on Capitol Hill with the very latest for you. We'll also be live at the White House where President Bush is making a last-minute appeal to Congress to support his controversial guest worker amnesty proposals. And in Los Angeles, where illegal aliens and their supporters today stage new protests in support of the rights of illegal aliens in the United States. More than 10,000 students, by police estimates, took to the streets today to demand the rights and privileges reserved for citizens of the United States. We'll have more on that developing story where the protests are continuing, spilling into the freeways in certain parts of Los Angeles. And Congressman James Sensenbrenner, he is among my guests tonight. It is his here, our special guest tonight. It is his legislation that's been the focal of so much attention on the part of the demonstrators and protests in a number of cities around the country. Also, the mayor of Los Angeles isn't just speaking out in favor of amnesty for illegal aliens. What he's saying is a lot stronger than that, and we'll have what he's saying, as well as a number of others. And some 3,000 illegal aliens will enter this country today, at least 3,000 today alone. How does that affect you and every other citizen in this country? We'll have that story next. Stay with us.
The Situation.
We begin with breaking news. A startling breach of the nation's going in the war on terror. A plot to attack the White House revealed in open court. Listen to allegations. And Hillary Clinton's challenger called it a joke about the senator, but why aren't so many people laughing in New York right now? Stay with us.
Now, you know the news of Monday, March the 27th, 2006. I'm Shepard Smith. Thanks for having us into your home tonight. I'll be back for tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific. That's 10 p.m. here in Jerusalem, and that means the first exit polls will be out. We'll be live at Kadima Party headquarters and bring you the results as they come in. For we all know they affect every American and people around the world. And back here tomorrow night for another Fox Report. It's good to have you in tonight. Bill O'Reilly's up next, then Hannity and Combs, then On the Record with Greta Van Susteren for news at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. You've got to go to Greta. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a great night.
The Fox Report with Shepard Smith. A presentation of Fox News Channel, the network America trusts. Period.
Paula?
Thanks, Lou. Always good to see you. Wolf. Good evening, everyone. Appreciate your being with us tonight. A courtroom bombshell. A man who claims to have known all about the 9/11 plot calmly describes his own role in the business of mass murder. On the CNN Security Watch, for the very first time, stunning testimony as an Al-Qaeda terrorist takes the stand. Was he supposed to be the 5th pilot on 9/11? Jaw-dropping details you've never heard before about the attack that changed all of our lives. Outside the law, once a preacher's wife, now in chains, accused of murdering her husband. Did anyone see it coming? And the eye-opener, Spring Break 101, Beyond the Sun and the Fun. Our cameras follow a girls' night out and get a real education. What every young woman and her parents should know about spring break safety. We start tonight on the CNN Security Watch with stunning testimony from Al-Qaeda conspirators.
The alleged killer, he was arraigned today, she was, I should say, as people who knew the will talk about the two sides of the murdered minister. Also ahead tonight, love and poison. A woman stands accused of trying to win the heart of a man by poisoning the guy's wife. Bizarre story coming out from 360.
On the track.
The Factor begins right now. Furry friends, take that, cat viewers.
And he has the right to make you laugh. Conservative comedian Brad Stein is here.
She spent her career in getting to hear how John Kerry gets around. Finicky food list and more on the way.
No tomatoes and celery. And a man sues an online love doctor for not filling his prescription. Yes, we're going to tell you why the website shut him out and bring you all the day's top stories in the final hour of Fox and Friends.
It's Fox and Friends.
Yep, they told the story first. That's ahead on This American Living. We begin with this news.
Carefully consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses. Call your advisor for a prospectus with this and other fund information. Read it carefully.
They were captured on the field of battle. I could do anything I want.
Welcome to Washington.
Tonight, four of country music's biggest superstars. Naomi Judd. She and daughter Winona became one of country's greatest duos ever. And she's overcome depression and so much more along the way. Travis Tritt. 18 top 10 country hits and breaking big news here tonight with an American Idol connection. Leanne Womack. A sound so classic she's been compared to the legendary Tammy Wynette. And Martina McBride. From small-town girl to sexy international star with more than 10 million albums sold. Four of country's greatest together, and we'll take your calls tonight, now, next, on Larry King Live.
I get a little excited on it. We'll begin the opening segments with Naomi Judd, and then the whole panel will gather. All this in connection with the Kennedy Center, that famed establishment in Washington, D.C., that is saluting country music for 3 weeks. Are you surprised? They're doing 3 weeks of salute to country music at the austere
On one with former President Clinton is next on Larry King Live.
It's always a great pleasure to welcome to Larry King Live the former President of the United States, the 42nd President, Bill Clinton. He was last on this program 6 months ago when his global initiative began.
Some temporary.
And will Monday's immigrant boycott actually hurt efforts to strike an immigration deal? The Beltway Boys are next after the headlines. Hello everyone, I'm Trace Gallagher. The U.S. military says an Army soldier died to Beltway Boys with Fred Barnes and Mort Kondracki starts right now. I'm Mort Kondracki. And I'm Fred Barnes, and we're the Beltway Boys. And hot story number one, It'll probably get somewhere in the 50s, in the low 50s this time. But the truth is that the pressure is going to keep up. This issue is not going to go away. Yeah, so the answer is civil unions. But look, nobody could be in favor of a moderate immigration bill more than I am. But this day without work that the immigrants groups or left-wing immigrants are putting over is counterproductive. And the Catholic Church and others are actually trying to hold events after work, not instead of work. That's all for the Beltway Boys for this week. Join us next week when the boys are back in town. Stick around. Fox News Watch is up in just a few seconds.
This week on Fox News Watch, pain at the pump. What's the truth behind the high prices? What's the truth about this episode of ABC's Prime Time? Also, Ken Lay blames the media for the collapse of Enron. And former Fox Newsman Tony Snow becomes the first journalist in a generation to preside over the White House press room. First the headlines, and then us.
The city of Durham divided. Now word the Black Panthers will march on Duke University. And despite college rules to the contrary, the group says they will carry guns. The fallout tonight on the Fox Report at 7 Eastern. Fox News Watch with Eric Burns starts right now on the Fox News Channel.
On the panel this week are 4 people who carpooled to work this week. It's cheaper that way. Soon they'll be riding bicycles. Jim Pinkerton of Newsday, syndicated columnist Cal Thomas, Jane Hall of the American University, and media writer Neil Gabler. I'm Eric Burns. Fox News Watch is coming right up.
The price of gas just keeps on going higher.
Gas prices are still going up.
Rising oil pressure.
Gas prices at the pump.
Now, here's the way the media seem to be reporting this story.
As is Laura. She's hot.
Laura Bush, muy caliente. President Bush, quite the hit last night. If you didn't see it, it was definitely a laugh-out-loud moment at the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner. Impersonator Steve Bridges doing an unbelievable job playing along as a look-alike, sound-alike sidekick. The entertainment also featured Stephen Colbert from Comedy Central's The Colbert Report. And that's going to do it for me on the Big Story Weekend. I'm Julie Banderas. Up next, a full hour of Fox News Sunday, followed by the Fox Report at 7 o'clock. Good night, everyone.
With his poll ratings at an all-time low, President Bush faces tough challenges, from surging gas prices to stalled immigration reform. We'll talk with a man the president has asked to help save his second term. New White House Chief of Staff Josh Bolten in his first interview and a Sunday exclusive. Also, we'll dig into the week's political news and look back at the first decade of Fox News Sunday with our regular, Brit Hume, Mara Liasson, Bill Kristol, and Juan Williams. And our Power Player of the Week, there was only one possible choice. All right now, on the 10th anniversary of Fox News Sunday. Good afternoon and welcome to Fox News Sunday. We'll talk with our guests and panel after the latest headlines from Fox News in New York. Returns right now. Last night here in Washington at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, President Bush spoke about recent personnel changes in his administration.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm feeling chipper tonight. I survived the White House shakeup.
Joining us now for his first interview since taking on his new assignment, the architect of that shakeup, Josh Bolten, the new White House Chief of Staff. Mr. Bolten, thanks for coming in and welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you, Chris.
You have made a number of changes in your first 2 weeks on the job. We'll get into the specifics later, but looking at the big picture, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to change in the way this White House does business?
What the change says, Chris, is simply that there's a new person in charge. I told the president that when he asked me to do this job that you can't trade up from Andy Card. He's one of the finest, most decent, honorable, and effective public servants that this country's ever known. But what the change does provide is an opportunity for the White House to step back, refresh, re-energize at a time when we're 5.5 years into an administration, normally a slow point, a low point in many administrations, and a chance for us to get our mojo back, to go back more on the offensive, and to get people within the White House to look at our operations, re-energize them for the next 6 months up through the election, the next 1,000 days through the end of this president's term.
Are there some things, as you've looked at this, either in terms of operations or in terms of policy, that you want to change?
Yes, there are things that we want to change. I've talked with the president about. We do want to have a more open environment to the press and to the public. We've already had that underway for a while. You've seen the president out more in more casual settings, more free-flowing. He's very good in those settings, and we've taken advice from a lot of folks that we ought to put the president out more in ways that the American people can see what he's really like.
I want to show you the 3 latest polls on presidential approval. Take a look at them here. All 3 have Mr. Bush in the 30s at all-time lows for his presidency, with disapproval up around 60%. There's a new phrase here in Washington, which I'm sure you have heard, the Bolton 96. Tony Snow launched Fox News Sunday. Of course, since then, we've done a lot more talking than you have. And we're going to continue that now with Britt, Mara, Bill, and Juan. Well, we have a special anniversary show on Fox News Channel tonight. We'll tell you all about it in just a moment. But as we put together the history of the show, it's fascinating because it's really the history of the past decade in American government and politics. Britt, what strikes you about the last 10 years in this town?
This has been an amazing time, just in terms, just the turbulence of it. I mean, think of what has happened since that show began. We've had the impeachment of a president in the midst of a scandal, which I think any of us, if somebody outlined the scandal to us ahead of time, you know, president in Oval Office, intern,
yes,
sex, would say, that's the end of that guy. Instead, the guy's now being voted president of the world, and although he was impeached, he came out of it about as gloriously as anybody could possibly imagine. In addition to that, we had the extraordinary election in 2000, the unprecedented near tie, the recount was dragged on for, what, nearly 40 days. And then we had the terrorist attack in 2001, amazing development. You know, who would have imagined that? I mean, I suppose you could imagine it, but whoever thought it was going to happen? And then 2 wars, another close election, and the thing goes on. These are amazing times. This show has been there for all.
Yeah, there's been nothing placid about the history of Fox News Sunday, or at least the 10 years that it's spanned. I mean, when you also just think about just the stuff we're covering now, I mean, in 1996, the Republican Revolution was in its, you could say, infancy, 2 years into power, at least in the House. And now, those big dreams of Karl Rove, which seemed very realistic after 2000 and 2004 of making a permanent Republican majority, now you see a White House.
Start a news channel. There have been some attempts to start the programming.
It wasn't easy for us to get our flag planted. And the first thing we did to do that was to create a Sunday show.
Hi, I'm Tony Snow, and welcome to the beginning of something new.
When Fox News Sunday first came on the air, I think like a lot of people, I was a skeptic. Fox News had had a lot of false starts, put programs on the air and taken them off very quickly. And I suspected that Fox News Sunday would be another example.
Hi, I'm Tony Snow, and welcome to the Sunday program that cares what you think.
It's probably too much to say that I had a vision because I was such a newbie when it came to television news. I think what I wanted to do was to have more fun with politics, because Sunday shows, most of them I think are boring.
You're unbelievable.
So I wanted to have some fun. I wanted to add some levity. That's why we had musical bumpers in the beginning. It's why we tried to come up with some ways of saying to the American public, we know it's politics, but we get the joke too.
Once again, we are making a virtue of necessity. Until we complete our studios on Capitol Hill, we will visit historic homes in and around the nation's capital.
So here we are, we're doing a Sunday talk show. Didn't have studios, didn't have facilities. At the beginning, we were like little vagabonds.
And today, this beautiful manse serves as the set for Fox News Sunday.
It was kind of fun when we started because we just didn't have anything. I mean, we would meet in one of these. Our first editorial meetings were conducted in a satellite truck.
Welcome to one of the first and most unusual houses in Washington, D.C.
We were looking for these historic sites, figuring this would be kind of a nice little gimmick
This is the Heinrich Mansion.
As a television producer, I could argue that just created enormous problems, more money, and a lot of trouble. But the things I was trying to overcome, our credibility, our ability to deliver a program, I felt that we had to go ahead and do it.
Welcome inside the brand new Fox News studios overlooking the nation's capital.
There were two schools of thought in those days. One, we had no chance and would die a horrible death on our own. And the other was, well, let's try to kill them. Either scenario was not in our favor.
And Tony had an additional challenge because he had taken a sort of a side trip in his career as a journalist to be a speechwriter for President Bush, and he was identified with the Republican cause.
There are a lot of people sort of waiting to spring on anything that they would consider too conservative. I think it disappointed them. As a matter of fact, I got a lot more hate mail from conservatives who said, why aren't you waging war?
Good morning, I'm Tony Snow, and welcome to the first anniversary edition of Fox News Sunday. Welcome to the second anniversary edition of Fox News Sunday. Today marks George W. Bush's 100th day in office and our 5th anniversary on the air.
It fell to Tony to try to make it clear to everybody that if you come on our air, we'll make you do a searching interview with you, but you're going to get a fair shake, and we're going to try to put all sides on. And that was hard in the early going.
The president showed how to make the bipartisan process work on behalf of the American people.
We feel good about the new spirit of bipartisanship. Let me ask you,
Can we see a little more elation in your face then?
well, I'll get
There was a period in which Democrats said, oh my gosh, you know, the old thing about Fox News is too conservative or too pro-Bush. And then it was as if they had an epiphany. A light went off. Oh my gosh, look at the size of the audience that's watching. Look at how this sets the terms for debate. If we don't respond, if there is no Democratic presence, it's a loser.
But I remember it took us months to get Joe Lieberman on. This is another one. And then after he'd been on, it was like, oh, this is okay. I'll come back. We had to do sort of long, groveling, begging sales pitches. But once we finally did it, it was always my view. If I got him on once, I could get him on again.
Tony, I know this is your last show on the Fox Sunday morning, and I want to thank you for the great job you've done, and I've sent over a little going-away gift.
It's a boxing glove for Tony. You hit hard, but always fair and balanced.
I loved doing Fox News. I had a blast doing it. I feel unbelievably blessed and grateful for the ability to have started the show, and I'm glad it's doing well now.
I'm Chris Wallace, and this is Fox News Sunday. I was very excited about coming to Fox News Sunday. Good morning, and welcome to Fox News Sunday, Volume 2. We intend to keep the best from the Tony Snow era and add a few new features as well. I'm honored to be part of your Sundays and hope we become as much a part of your routine as the morning papers and your first cup of coffee. As I looked across the television landscape in 2003, Fox News was really the only operation that was growing. It seemed that a lot of the networks and some of the other cable operations were talking as if their best days were behind them. And it seemed to me that Fox News Sunday was just a remarkable opportunity, to become even a bigger player on the Sunday morning scene.
Thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate being the first Democrat on the show.
Now, boy, people want to be on Fox News Sunday.
Hillary Clinton, Democrat from New York.
Overwhelmingly, the response is, oh, yes.
Senators, good to have you both with us, and Senator Clinton, welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you, Chris. Good to be with you.
I remember somebody from NBC calling me and saying, how dare you say you're fair and balanced? That implies we're not.
Some people just sort of scoff at that motto. In fact, I take it very seriously to heart. I do believe that there is a bias, and I was part of the mainstream media for almost a quarter century and didn't realize it. Do you really see things in such adversarial terms?
Oh, Chris, we all put on our political hat.
I just felt that there are a lot of people in America who have different points of view, and that we should respect everybody's point of view, and that the conservative point of view should be treated with the same respect, not more, but the same, as liberal and other points of view.
Why is it that political opponents only seem to be able to get along and be civil to each other once they're out of office?
When you're not competing, when you're not running for election against somebody, I'll admit that to you here.
I think that we want hard debates in elections, but after that we want to stop demonizing each other. And I think that it's not just a problem in America, it's a problem all across the world. And knows? Maybe we'll have a little positive impact.
The news channel's success has given the Fox News brand name an enormous amount of potency, and the Sunday show has been part of that, and is very much a part of the Washington scene now. It's firmly established.
Coming next, the big events of the last 10 years. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And how the terror attacks reshape the political climate in Washington.
It breaks the decade in half.